Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Tuesday morning, political fighters. Welcome to the July 7th, 2026 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278 is our number. Call and text us on that line, and you can find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. And you can email me at richard@wcpt820.com and follow me on all the socials under Choose Views. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to all of the podcasts that are out there in the universe. I'm just playing. The WCPT podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views featured interviews. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. The great Patty Vasquez, Driving It Home. It's The Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other wonderful shows and interviews. And make sure in the evenings you are checking out the Politics Bar, the Matt McNeil Show, and the Gailey Show. And make your way over to heartlandsignal.com. And I got a few things to let you know real quickly about from Heartland Signal, and then we'll get to our show because we are busy. Okay. John Parker had a great conversation with, well, I should say, the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, defends trans kids in sports, saying they help children feel they're accepted in a community. They feel a certain sense of belonging, and the bigots say you can't not have that, and that makes me mad. Attorney General Ellison is the real deal, so check out that clip. You'll want to play that and share that with your friends in that space. And then Michigan, will the results of the 2026 Michigan's midterms determine the 2028 presidential election? Michigan is the tip of the spear in some people's minds. So you want to check that out. Anna Gomez, commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission, says we need everyone to push back against Trump's administration's attack on freedom of speech, including corporations. Where have you heard that before about corporations pushing back? If they really want to take it, I mean, they could run some stuff if corporations decided, but I know you guys have said that they don't care as much as we might think that they should or we want them to. But she said that these battles that with Kimmel and other things like that are helping to bring awareness to the conversation around what the administration is doing and attacking our communications efforts. And then Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Dave Crowley says the reason the GOP let a conversion grant program die is that they want control in a divided government. They always say they need stronger oversight and for particular programs when there's a Democratic governor. But when there's not a Democratic governor or a leadership, they just kind of let things slide. So all that and much more can be found over at heartlandsignal.com, so make your way over there to check out the post. On today's show, State Senator L.G. Sims, Illinois State Senator L.G. Sims will be with us in the 6:30 hour. Dr. Chris Jones, who's running for Congress in Arkansas, who's been with us before. He's a nuclear physicist, by the way. He'll be with us in the 7 o'clock hour. And political commentator Cliff Schechter will be with us in the 7:30 hour. Really looking forward to talking with Cliff about all that's happening in our world. I got a laundry list of things to talk to him about, but also looking forward to what the two candidates have to say. Well, I shouldn't say. State Senator L.G. Sims will probably talk about Illinois' budget and what's happening in the state of Illinois overall, and Dr. Chris Jones will talk about his congressional race. So there you go. That's what's happening today. We will take your calls. Make sure you give us a buzz and let us know what's happening in your world if we can't get you on. We will definitely get your comments. We appreciate getting the comments. Mike and Devin are phenomenal when it comes to making sure that they give me the hand signals and all the things that we have to use to communicate with each other when we're live. Can't pound on the glass because nobody can hear it anyhow. So there you go. All right. Today's question of the day. And don't worry. I am going to talk about the elephant in the room when we come back from our first break, which will take a little bit early, so I have a few more minutes to chat about it before our guests are here. But our question of the day today, and I got to get this over to Mike, what are your thoughts of the changes in the Michigan U.S. Senate race? You guys heard over the weekend. We didn't talk about it yesterday because we had a Michigan candidate that I wanted to focus on him, not on this. But Mallory McMorrow suspended her campaign, leaving the two candidates, Dr. Syed and Haley Stevens, in the race. And I want to know. I mean, we've got an article at the Heartland Signal about Michigan being a tipping point state when it comes to this upcoming 2026 midterm as well as the 2028 election. But I want to know what you guys think about this change in Michigan with now the two candidates being Dr. Syed and Haley Stevens. What do you think about that race? Where do you think it's going to go? What do you think should happen? Who do you think should do what? And what I mean by that is, do you think that McMorrow should come out and endorse one of the two? And if so, who do you think she should endorse? I've got my thoughts on that. And what do you think will be the outcome here? I mean, obviously, as I've said before, my goal is we have to win that seat because we want to make sure that Mike Rogers is not the senator that wins that seat, the Republican chaos agent and butt kisser of Donald Trump. We can't have that. So the question is going to be for all of us. This is an all of us race, guys. All of the races matter. The congressional races and meaning the House races as well as the Senate races, they all matter right now. Because if we're going to take back control and get our country back into a better mode, then we've got to take back certain seats, both in the House and the Senate on a federal level. And, I'm sure Dr. Jones will have something to say about that. And actually, we may also have some comments on that from our own state Senator Sims. So that's where we are. Let me know what your thoughts are. What are they, meaning your thoughts, of the changes in the Michigan U.S. Senate race now that Mallory McMorrow has suspended her campaign and is leaving Dr. Syed and Haley Stevens in the race? Give us your assessments with a text to 773-763-9278 or a call, and we'll grab your information from there. And you can also post your thoughts on Facebook from anywhere in the country that you are. Let us know. Before we go to the break, I want to give a little bit of a thank you to someone that passed away that maybe most certainly directly impacted your life and indirectly impacted your life, and you'll understand this in a moment. George E. Johnson Sr. Was an American businessman and entrepreneur. He was a founder of Johnson Products. And the reason I say that if you were directly impacted or indirectly impacted by his life, he is a founder of Johnson Products Company here in Chicago, an international cosmetics and hair care company, and noted for a product known as Afro Sheen and Ultra Sheen. He developed this product after years of denial from other businesses and started this company back in 1957, and it became a legendary African-American hair care products company. He passed away yesterday at age 99. I got to meet him when I was a youngster. He was a friend of my father's and my uncle's, and just a great man, a great leader, a great business visionary, and always had this big, warm smile. He passed away, leaving a large family of children and grandchildren, and some great-grandchildren in there as well. But what was great about him and his legacy will be that he started a business at a time when we were still dealing with some issues, huge issues, civil rights, American rights, American decency. And he forged ahead, fought through, and created a company that ended up being on the American Stock Exchange. It was the first African-American-owned business to be on the American Stock Exchange in 1971. So, honor to Mr. Johnson. He's the other Mr. Johnson. There's the Johnson of Johnson Publishing, Ebony Magazine, and Jet Magazine, and John Johnson of the publishing side, and George Johnson of the hair care product side. So kudos to you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for the leadership that you provided, not just to the African-American community, but to entrepreneurs of all shapes, forms, and sizes. One of the things that I remember that he talked about this, he said that what was important to him is to have the best people. He knew that this was a black-owned business, but he said that you could walk down the halls of Johnson Products and you could see an Asian woman who's a chemist. You could see a white woman from the suburbs, as well as a black man from parts of the city as employees and scientists that were working there to help build this company. So he recognized the importance of brilliance and smarts and all those great things and leadership, and he wanted it to be represented in his firm. So once again, thank you, Mr. Johnson, for the leadership he provided. Let's take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. When we come back, we got some things to talk about. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you are just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu, and we're going to hit you with a couple of quick Choose Views news items on this July 7th, 2026. AI leaders are suddenly changing their tune on jobs. The biggest names in AI are walking back their dire warnings about what technology will do to the job market, but it is because they now, better understand the ramifications of widespread AI adoption, or because they don't want to scare off potential customers. Quote, they may have noticed that the labor market is genuinely not changing or imploding, as it were, as rapidly as some had suggested, according to MIT's author David Autor. Some major companies like Ford have even hired back humans, sounds so crazy, after the AI efforts didn't work out as planned. We tried to tell you. It's an assistance. It's not the takeover. U.S. star Balogun set for the Belgium clash after the ban was lifted. And I'm just going to cut to the chase. Devin and I were kind of like tongue-in-cheek going, wow. You guys heard about this whole red card suspension situation that was lifted by FIFA, and Trump put his hand on the scale. Guess what, y'all? We lost. Stay out of things, Trump. Everything you touch burns. Microsoft cuts 4,800 jobs and restructures the Xbox division. According to what they stated on Monday, it's about 2.1% of their global workforce as part of a broader reorganization aimed at accelerating its artificial intelligence strategy. Most of the layoffs will be concentrated in the commercial and Xbox divisions, according to the memo from Chief People Officer Amy Coleman. In a separate memo to employees, Xbox CEO Asha Sharma said the gaming unit will spin off 4 studios and eliminate about 3,200 positions through the fiscal year of 2027. Last but not least, UN chief calls for global rules on safer AI adoption. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivered a stark warning Monday about the dangers of artificial intelligence, speaking at the UN's first global dialogue on AI governance. Guterres said the technology is being deployed faster than anyone can keep up. He called for AI companies to sign an AI child safety pledge that would require them to prove their systems are safe enough to be released to children. The UN chief allowed, though, that if used appropriately, AI could be a great equalizer in the 21st century. All right, just a couple of quick Choose Views news items because I want to get to some of your thoughts and comments. Today on Live, local and progressive, Joan Esposito will be talking to Peter Giangreco, Democratic strategist and partner at the Strategy Group, Suzanne Schott, professor of political science at North Central College, and Joe Broncantelli of the Joe Sent Me Business Travel Newsletter. Weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT AM 820, heartlandsignal.com, and, of course, tune in. Driving it home tonight, Patty's guests will include Matt Brewer, recently announced candidate for Chicago mayor, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, AM 820, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And then tomorrow on Choose Views, we'll be joined by our good friend Kurt Muller from Hoosier Blue 63, Dr. Thomas Fisher, attending emergency medicine physician at the University of Chicago, and H.H. Leonards, a co-founder of 51 Steps to Freedom. There you go. Just make sure that you are tuning in. Catch the podcast by going to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeart, YouTube, and Amazon Music. And we'll remind you of those great places to listen to our other shows a little bit later in the show. Okay. Do we have it ready? Let's go ahead and play it. But this is the question that I asked, Steve, and I want us all to answer this question as introspectively and honestly as we can. We're in a climate right now. Now, this may have happened, whenever it happened. 5 years, 10, 15 years ago, whatever it may have been. But we know that it's been a recent conversation, and this is how I look at it. I ask this question of myself when someone says this about Plattner. If my sister, my wife, my sisters-in-law, my nieces, my grandnieces were the recipient of that text, how would I feel? And I ask guys, men, males, if anybody, any female, any woman in your family or in your universe were the recipient of that text, how would it make you feel that this guy sent that text to somebody that's a female that you love and respect?
Right.
So I can be forgiving, but it's going to be hard for me to forget that when I look at where we are currently as a society and what we should be fighting for.
Yeah. We
as men that we call ourselves men and males and whatever that's supposed to represent, we should be the first people to the front of the aisle, to the room and say, hey, no. You cannot do that. You cannot mealy mouth and hide behind your wife to let her apologize for your actions. You have to be the one to step to the front of the room and say, I messed up. This is totally on me. I'm not going to blame anything, any condition, or any person. This is on me. It was stupid and disrespectful. I hope I can still earn your vote. He hasn't done that in a full-throated, from the bottom of his shoes way yet. Okay, so there's more commentary to that. This is about the Graham Plattner revelations about 6 weeks ago, roughly. And I said something then that, this is not about being right. It's more about people. We have to pay attention and be mindful of where we are. And I'll try to get this in quickly before we get to our break, because we have our guests at 6:30. Last fall, when the first thing came out about the tattoo and why don't black people tip? I said then, that's kind of like, what? Okay, we need to pay attention to this. But everybody got hot and bothered and all lathered up about it. Graham Plattner was the voice. He was the every person's man. He's the every woman's man. He was the guy because he was, he fit the narrative. And I said, be careful, everybody. Please be careful. I know we want to have more progressive voices. We want to have voices that are speaking to everybody. We want to have voices that are going to push back and fight hard and knock over some tables, as I've said. I said, but we also have to be a little bit careful right now because everything that we're doing is being looked at by Republicans. Fast forward, 6 weeks ago, we've got the tapes. I said, I think we got a problem. And please, Democrats, and of course, let me say this also. I'm not a voter in Maine, and 49 other states are not voters in Maine, and our territories. But I hope Maine gets this right. I really do, because I would love us to pick off that seat. But if Susan Collins skips in again, because we ourselves, and I'm taking responsibility because we're all part of this as a team. If we got taken by the okie doke, or as Mike likes to say, the banana in the tailpipe on Plattner, it's on us, guys, because we were warned. This is that same conversation. Just hear me. Kamala Harris gets criticized for not using the right spoon to feed me how I wanted to hear things in 2024. But she told us what was going to happen. Hillary Clinton, same thing. She told us what would happen. And people decided that they were smarter and knew better. And they were wrong. I said this about Plattner last fall. I said it 6 weeks ago, and I'm saying it again. Sometimes you need to press pause and listen to what's going on other than just the moment of excitement about this candidate. I told folks that we needed to pay attention about Plattner. It's on recording. And again, it's not about being right. It's about what is the lesson we're going to learn. We always talk about the Dems haven't learned anything. And this is a moment where I would agree with people who said the Dems didn't learn a damn thing. I said then as well, I was cool with the 70-year-old white woman who had accomplished some stuff for the people in the state of Maine. I'm totally cool with Janet Mills. She stood up to Donald Trump face to face, not literally, but across the room, and said, we'll see you in court or bring it on. However, whatever the phrase was, you guys can correct me on that. But she stood there and she took the heat and delivered back a punch. I can roll with that. But a lot of people were like, And this is the second time Bernie has gotten it way wrong. He got it wrong with, what's the woman with the former DNI? Tulsi Gabbard. He got it wrong with Tulsi Gabbard. Y'all remember that? Some people forget. People tried to say then, I don't know about Hillary said it. So did Kamala years ago. Got it wrong on Tulsi Gabbard. Bernie got it wrong with Plattner as well. And a lot of people got it wrong. But guess who didn't get it wrong? I didn't get it wrong. And I'm not propping up me. I'm saying we have to, when I say things like just because the person is younger chronologically, when I've said that narrative, now you know what I'm talking about. Just because they're that progressive, we got to do a little bit more work in vetting people. And we need to start right now. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, as well as our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, we'll be talking with Illinois State Senator L.G. Sims. Looking forward to that conversation. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. I'm Richard Chu, 773-763-9278. Hailing from none other than Chicago's great south side of Chicago is our own state senator, L.G. Sims, with us this morning. Good morning, Senator. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, Richard. Good morning. How are you?
I am great. I'm great. It's so great to have you on the show. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a little bit. And, here's what, when we get a no from a state legislator, that's a good sign because y'all are too doggone busy fixing things like the budget and making sure this stuff is right so the people of Illinois and those that visit our great state can go, wow. All the people that have been saying things about Chicago and Illinois, they've been either blind or they've been lying. But because we've got good leadership like you guys to make sure things that happen. So thank you, Senator, for being with us this morning.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I'm a big fan of the show.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to do something that I like to do for someone that first time is to introduce yourself to our audience. I know who you are, but I want them to hear from your mouth more about you and your ascent to where you are today. Talk to us.
Well, absolutely. I appreciate that. And I'm born and raised right here on the south side of the city of Chicago. My wife and I are raising our two daughters in the Chatham neighborhood, product of both Chicago public schools and private and parochial school. I was moved to parochial school. I always tell the story about my parents. My brother and I were going to be bused out of our West Pullman neighborhood, and my parents made the decision at that point to move us to parochial school. Mm-hmm. And so we from that day until the day we graduated, my brothers and I went to parochial school, and it was that helped to shape who all of us are. My older brother is currently a pastor. I'm an attorney by trade. I matriculated at Illinois State University, graduated from Illinois State University, went to Springfield to work on the staff of the Illinois Senate. I am now chair of the committee that I worked for, the Appropriations Committee.
Yeah.
left Springfield, working on staff, went to law school, became a lawyer, started practicing in the corporate finance world, and I wanted to make sure I gave back to my community. So I ran for office, got elected to the Illinois House in 2012, served in the House from 2012 to 2018, serving as the chair of the House Judiciary Criminal Committee. I've been one of the leading voices on criminal legal reform here in the state of Illinois. Then moved over to the Senate, got elected to the Senate in 2018, and been serving there ever since. I served as chair of the Criminal Law Committee before becoming chair of the Appropriations Committee, and then been working, as you mentioned earlier, working to make sure our budget reflects the priorities of our great state, making sure that we have investments in communities that have been left behind, making sure that we are making the wealthy pay their fair share, making sure that corporations are responsive and being good corporate partners to the work that we do here in the state of Illinois. Is it easy work? No, but it's a labor of love because I love this state. I love the community where we live, and I love making sure that we are working on behalf of the people we serve.
You know, Senator, you talk about business impact and the things that socially we've done here in Chicago and the state of Illinois to make us the great city and state and communities that we are. And you may or may not be aware of this, but we lost a great leader, George E. Johnson of Johnson Products, passed away yesterday. And I know you being from Chatham, that's a neighborhood. Depending on what side of the expressway you were on, but you couldn't drive down to Dan Ryan going northbound or southbound without seeing Johnson Products. And I said earlier, directly you're impacted by Mr. Johnson's legacy if you're African American, but even if you're not, you were impacted because you may have been one of our Caucasian brothers and sisters, one of our Asian or Hispanic brothers and sisters that worked there. Because it was a community business that did so much for so many people in not just that neighborhood, but the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, and the rest of the world for that matter. So I'm sure you're aware of that by now. But
I am, and that's a huge loss for us. Not just in the African American community, but in the community of Chicago and the community at large.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, here in Chatham, it's one of the reasons why we wanted to live here. There was a history and a legacy of individuals who believed in uplift. That was who this community is, and that's one of the reasons. Again, my wife and I, we say that we chose Chatham, but Chatham chose us as much as we chose it. And Mr. Johnson, he and there were this amazing group of individuals. I would count my parents among that group. These groups of Black entrepreneurs who wanted to uplift the community, and they wanted to give back to those who are less fortunate. And I watched my parents, and I watched those Black entrepreneurs during the 70s and 80s. They would give chances and second chances to individuals who didn't have those opportunities, and they would hire locally. And that's why I'm such an advocate for small businesses, because I know that small businesses, they hire locally, they invest locally, they're impactful. They're impactful locally. That's why that legacy that Mr. Johnson left in the history of the Black entrepreneurs who came from that era. We cannot ignore it. We blessed to live in what's called the townhomes that are owned by the Travis townhomes.
Right.
And if anybody who knew the name Dempsey Travis, not only was he an acclaimed author, but he was a developer who wanted to invest in the community. And he took back then in the late 80s, early 90s, working with then Mayor Harold Washington to develop luxury townhomes right on the south side of the city of Chicago, so that the Black professionals had the opportunity to live and work in a community that was theirs.
Yeah.
And that was again, he and both Mr. Travis and Mr. Johnson. I say my parents. Just that whole list of those entrepreneurs who have done amazing work. We don't lift up those stories enough. And particularly when we have an assault on history the way we are seeing.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about WCPT, you would talk about facts matter. Even this morning, there are stories that this administration is challenging and attacking the Smithsonian because they say they're
Yeah.
expressing extreme ideology, which is ridiculous. When in reality we have to lean into facts. I was having a conversation with my interns recently, and I talked about the fact that I love this country, and one of the things that your love for this country also has to talk about us being honest about it,
Yep.
warts and all. Not everything was perfect, but we believe and we strive for that more perfect union, and that's what makes us great. The fact that we recognize that we are not, nor have we ever been perfect, but we strive for perfection.
That's the part right. I mean, Senator, that's the part right there. To say that we want to go back to make America great again and go back to a golden age and all this other stuff that's been thrown about by this administration and all the sycophants that are following it, both elected officials and regular everyday people. Our strength as a nation, and I'm with you, Senator. I love our country to death, and I'm proud of our country's aspiration to go forward. And that to me it makes it worth fighting for. But I'm not stupid or foolish. We got issues that we have to fix. And that right there is what makes us a great country, is that we haven't said we're going to, well, we up until now, we've tried really hard not to rest on the laurels of the great achievements of the past. We've said we can still do even better. And so to me, that's like you, that's one of the reasons that I keep fighting and pushing like we do and trying to drag all of us through this craziness. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Travis, and many others. I mean, I had a big smile on my face thinking back on the day. For those of you who don't know this neighborhood, the Chatham neighborhood of Chicago, those who do, you do. If you don't, it's a neighborhood in the city of Chicago that it reeked of black excellence and pushing everybody, even if you weren't African American, if you lived in that community and you were of another culture, it was about making sure that community and its residents, its occupants, had an opportunity to go forward and to push hard. It was, in many minds, the representation of what America could be like, because it was about embracing everybody that landed there, from wherever you came from to that community. We wanted to make sure that you were, or the community wanted to make sure that you were able to prosper and to move forward. So thanks, Senator, for reminding all of us of the great achievements of the community, and it's still fighting to maintain the things that the Mr. Johnsons and the Mr. Travises and the grandma and grandpa Sims and all the rest tried to do for the community. You've held the torch pretty well, I would say, and you've done some things that are part of the basics of the community, making sure there's food security, making sure that we prioritize affordability, making sure that people are able to be part of whatever it is defined as the dream that they're putting forward. So thank you so much for that. Senator, we're going to take a quick break. Hold your call. We're going to take a quick break because I want to give you more time on the back end to talk about what you guys are doing in the legislature to keep these things moving forward. Let's take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Illinois State Senator L.G. Sims, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu, and we are talking with Illinois State Senator L.G. Sims. Senator Sims, you have been unapologetically forceful when it comes to making sure that our state is a state that's affordable to live in as best possible, that we have a budget that makes sense for all, and that our criminal justice system isn't bending people over the barrel when it comes to criminal justice reform. I know I threw a lot at you, but talk about that in terms of affordability. Let's start with affordability and how you look at that, and then let's talk about criminal justice reform if we can.
No, Richard, I appreciate that. It's for far too long, our criminal justice system has not been just. It has been a system focused on housing individuals. It has been a system that's focused on investing in the system and not the person.
Hmm.
Our state's constitution requires that we return individuals to their fullest usefulness. And part of that, in my opinion, has always been looking at how we are keeping crime from happening in the first place. And you keep crime from happening by investing in the whole person. You keep crime from happening by investing in those opportunities that will allow individuals to not be caught up in these cycles of violence. That means in education. That means in addressing their ability to have healthy food options. They're investing in their mental health, investing in economic opportunities. So I've used my platform in the General Assembly first, as I mentioned. I did work in the Illinois House, starting the process to make sure that our criminal legal system is a just one, making sure that we have a system that responds to the community and creates this relationship, because oftentimes we have law enforcement officers who are trying to do the right thing. We have communities that want to be partners with law enforcement, not occupied by them. So what we were trying to do is create these relationships that will allow for those pathways for individuals to have those opportunities, to have those partnerships. So Illinois has been on the cutting edge of criminal justice and criminal legal reform by making sure that we invest in those partnerships between communities and law enforcement. We are the only state that has fully eliminated cash bail, and it has not led to, despite what the opponents would say, it has not led to the purge. It has not led to the wild west of
Hmm.
crime here in the state of Illinois. Quite the opposite. Decisions are being made where individuals who are a threat to public safety, they're a threat to others, they're a threat to flee, they're being held in custody.
Yeah.
For those individuals who sit and make those wild claims, I would ask them, and I would charge any of them, to go to detention court and actually sit there.
There you go.
Because which I have done. I have sat in detention court and I have watched judges make decisions about individuals who are threats to public safety and have them be held. But I have also seen judges make determinations about an individual's access to cash, and then they're saying they look at the totality of the circumstances. So there was one case in particular. I remember a young woman had gone into a store, and she did something stupid. She actually even admitted it, that she had done something stupid. She was, being silly and grabbed something out of the store. But what the judge did, as she was going through the detention hearing, the judge was asking about her assets and asking about her children and asking about her life circumstances, and gave her conditions on which to live and make restitution and all those kinds of things. But the young woman was not held in custody
Hmm.
and having her life disrupted by doing something that everyone admitted was stupid. Those are the kinds of decisions we need to be making. But then on the flip side, there was an individual who started a brawl,
Hmm.
and the judge heard all of the facts, and the person was held in custody because not only did they start, when they initiated the incident, they kept it going.
Yeah.
The judge said clearly, "You are a threat to public safety," and they held the person in custody. So, we've got to understand that in large part, our communities want that partnership. They want individuals who are threats held accountable, but also they want investments making sure that crime never happens in the first place. Which is why when I started chairing the Senate Appropriations Committee, and I'd be remiss if I did not thank our leader, Senate President Don Harmon, for
Yeah.
appointing me to lead the Senate Appropriations Committee, and also being the Senate Democratic Caucus's lead budget negotiator. Um, that one of the items that he and I talked about was making sure that we're making those investments. We are looking at where we were and because we have had it very good, and we've passed eight balanced budgets in a row. We have now had 10 credit rating upgrades. Our GDP tops $1 trillion. I think oftentimes folks forget how bad it was under our previous governor.
Yeah.
Under our previous governor, we had our backlog of old bills had ballooned to $16 billion. We had not had a budget in 2 years. We were not only were we the laughing stock of the nation, we had individuals who did not want to do business with the state of Illinois. That is not the case right now. Right now, we're paying bills on time. We're investing in the whole person. We are lifting up communities. That the reality we're facing right now is very different than the reality we faced before.
Senator, and this is such a even bigger conversation, and I'll put it out to you like I do to everybody. We got to have you back and talk more about this, because it's important that people understand what Illinois is doing, what the legislature is doing, what the governor's doing, all of our team. I say all of our players means all of our players. Well, all of our players in Illinois are doing their very, very best to strengthen our state, as well as the city of Chicago, which is the hub. Let's just call it as it is. It's not rocket science. It's one of the hubs of the country, and certainly the Midwest, and most definitely here in the state of Illinois. And one of the things that you just talked about, and this is something that I don't want people to miss, when you disinvest in a community or in a thing, if you let your house go too long without making sure that you make some upgrades and make some changes and fix the foundation, it's going to fall in on itself. It's just inevitable. And that's what with Illinois, we've got the right people in place and understand the importance of that. You are from the community of Chatham and recognize if you disinvest in that community, it's going to fall in on itself. It's just inevitable. It's not rocket science. Same thing is true for any other community. I would say, in all fairness, if Lincoln Park, the neighborhood in Chicago, wealthy, upscale neighborhood, stopped having the investments into the community, into that zip code, it would fall in on itself. So when I hear people talk about, well, why are the politicians spending money over here? Why are they focused on this? Why is whomever it is, the mayor, the governor, the county officials, the state officials, talking about this neighborhood? Because if it needs the neighborhood, the investment in the neighborhood, then that's what we should be doing. If we have to invest in our children's education, that's what we should be doing. And the list goes on. And that's why I'm so proud of the budget that you guys put together for the state, because what the federal government is saying is, we don't care about Illinois. We don't want to invest in Illinois. We don't be partners with them. And you guys have said, okay, we're going to do the things that we got to do to make sure that we're strong and stout. As we wrap up, talk a little bit about the importance of you all creating that firewall between what the federal government in this current administration with Trump and all the rest aren't doing versus what you guys decided to do.
Rich, I'm so glad you asked that question, because we not only do we have a federal administration that is uninterested in participating with us, it's an administration that is hostile to Illinois. That's why we have thousands of people across the state of Illinois who are losing their SNAP benefits by virtue of the fact that we have a president who has said, we can't invest in Medicaid. We can't invest in healthcare. That's not our job. Our job is to fight wars. That is absolutely not the federal government's job. The job is to protect its people. And so what we have said is, we understand that I love the analogy of the home. If you fail to do your annual maintenance, if you fail to do maintenance on an ongoing basis, when you do have to do the repairs are much more expensive. And that's what we're seeing. We are seeing that because we have a federal administration that is not willing to be partners with us, it's going to be much more expensive for us to have to invest in those activities. So when we talk about individuals who are losing SNAP benefits, well, what the state of Illinois did, we created the first of its kind with FRESH program. Individuals who are going to lose SNAP benefits will have the ability to get resources from the state of Illinois to feed their families. Let's for a moment think about that. We have individuals who will not be able to feed their families during the summer months when kids are out of school, so we don't have kids who have the ability to go and get lunch, get a hot meal. So now they don't have those healthy options. Well, the state of Illinois says that's not good. That's not acceptable for us. We are going to create those opportunities, those pathways for families to have those resources and to be able to feed their families. We have also said we recognize, and if we're going to have opportunities and we're going to create pathways to opportunity, what we're going to do is invest into education.
Yep.
We have, over the last several years, we have made more investments in education than any time in our state's history. That's why you see the achievement gap on reading and math scores is starting to decrease here in the state of Illinois. Before, we ranked in the bottom quartile of the state of states. Now we're in the top 10 on reading and math scores. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we have investments, and it happens because we have amazing educators who are on the front lines, making sure that our young people are learning, not just regurgitating facts. And that's really where what this is all about. We are trying to develop the whole person, and I am so proud of the Senate Democratic Caucus, because our caucus has made it a priority where we will, and we keep saying we're going to invest in communities. We're going to invest in lifting up the whole person, because that's what our constituents are demanding from us.
Will you make
we've done that. We've done that in a very powerful way.
Will you make a commitment to me to we reinvest in you and having you back on the show to talk more about what the state's doing?
Richard, I'll be back. You let me know. I'm coming.
All right. State Senator L.G. Sims, thank you so much for being with us this morning. You've been a bright light this morning, and we really appreciate it. Folks can go to his website, L.G. Sims, and you can find everything out about him that you want to. Thanks, Senator, for being with us. We will have you back. Let's talk more about what the state is doing and the successes that you guys are bringing. Sound good?
I appreciate you. Well, I'll be back.
All right. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of the week. Guys, let's take a quick break. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Check out everywhere, all the places. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey, guys, thanks for being with us this morning. Pay attention, because Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, will be talking to Peter Giangreco today, Suzanne Chod, and Joe Brancatelli. And then tonight on Driving It Home, Patty's guest will be Matt Brewer, who is announcing his candidacy for mayor of the city of Chicago. That's Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. And, of course, tomorrow, catch us here live, 6 to 8 a.m. with Kurt Mullett, Dr. Thomas Fisher, and H.H. Leonards will be joining us. A few weeks ago, we had a chance to reach out to and have a great conversation with Dr. Jones, Chris Jones, that is, who is running as the Democratic nominee for Congress in the Arkansas 2nd Congressional District. Good morning again, Dr. Jones, and welcome back to Choose Views. There he is. I see you now.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Great to see you. Great to see you.
My friend, it's great to see you too.
Wow. So are you holding it down in Arkansas right now? What's going on?
Oh man, we are having a blast. We got them running scared, but we are not taking anything for granted.
No, you can't do that. As we see with any of the current elections and races that are taking place throughout the country. I saw your head tilt. I know you don't have to say a word. I know what that head tilt is all about, because, oh, Lord have mercy.
You already know.
I already know. But, yeah, I mean, you can't take French Hill for granted, who is your opponent, Republican opponent there in Arkansas. You are the better candidate, and that's just a fact. You've been diligent. I was just talking with one of our state senators here in Illinois, L.G. Sims, and he's a brother you should check out. And I said the thing that right now that's just so important is that we have to have candidates who genuinely understand, not just platitudes and great words and sounding good and the flavor of the day. And I'm throwing some shade because
you are throwing shade. I love it.
I warned people weeks ago and months ago about the travesty that we're about to see in Maine. But I said to State Senator Sims that when we have people who are from the community and really mean it, they're able to get things done. And you've held that torch particularly well. And your ideas just make more sense. They're just better than where French Hill is coming from. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Look, hands down, you are right. And I think one of the reasons why my ideas are better is because most of my ideas are not my ideas. They come from having real conversations with people. And I've always said that, two things. One, the people most impacted by decisions should be at the table when decisions are made.
Yep.
And two, the best solutions come from the folks who are closest to the problem.
Always the case.
Always the case. And so that, look, I'm 7th generation Arkansan, as you know, born and raised in Pine Bluff, live in Little Rock. And I'll tell you this, I mentioned that they're running scared. They literally filed a FEC complaint against me.
Yeah, y'all got to hear about this. I'm sorry, Dr. Jones. Tell them about this.
No, you call me Chris. Oh, look. You're required to have these paid for by disclaimers, which makes sense, right?
Yep.
And the complaint was not that I didn't have the disclaimer. The complaint was that I didn't have a white box around the disclaimer on some of my yard signs. Now, just the white box. So I get it. Look, hey, we made a mistake with that batch. It happens. We were in a rush on that one. But for them to file a 30-page complaint, meanwhile, one of their own sitting congressmen in the 3rd District in Arkansas doesn't even have the disclaimer on his box.
Nope. Which is a bigger, they're both not right, but in terms of the one that is the least, that's the least harmful and still discloses what ultimately the people need to see, you covered that. I covered it. You just didn't put in a white box, ironically, a white box.
Yeah, exactly.
But somebody else doesn't even have it there.
Didn't even have it there. One of their own doesn't even have it there. So, but here's the deal. The reason they're doing these distractions is because their policies don't work.
Yep.
French Hill is touting these Trump accounts. Now, he's the chair of the Financial Services Committee. He's a banker. These Trump accounts will put $1,000 of our tax money away for 18 years that a family can only access 18 years later if their kid goes to college or if they buy a house. And it's supposed to help low-income families now?
Yeah. It
doesn't.
It doesn't. And it's all it's that scheme that comes from Trump and I say this, all the Republicans in the House, the Senate, and in state legislatures. It's all of them.
They're in on it.
They're in on it, and it just doesn't make any sense. And it goes back to something that that I've said for years. That just because someone says that they are doesn't necessarily mean that they are the smartest in the room and knows what's best. Because if they're not actually, I mean, was this beta tested with folks on the ground, like you just said?
Right,
I mean, let's be honest. If the solution, if it's a thing to help people out today, then why would you do something that's got, and I understand this as a financial advisor, that the future cast on that, okay, great. But folks right now are trying to make sure that rent's covered. Folks, how about making that contribution or making those funds available so that people have those monies to cover things right now that'll take that stress off their neck?
Look, there are some places where people are getting evicted for an average of arrears of $1,000 to $1,500.
Yep.
They're getting evicted for that. Now, so the thing about it is, and I don't fault future-proofing. I don't fault planning for later. So why don't we do both and? Bingo. Instead of spending $2 billion a day on a war, why don't we say, let's help folks now and prepare them for a future? And better yet, why don't we invest in education?
Right now.
Early childhood education right now.
Chris, I've said this so many times, Dr. Jones, that if we just sat back and said, okay, wait a minute, if we're trying to protect or have the greatest defense for our nation, why don't we start with taking care of two basic things, educating folks and taking care of their health and welfare? Why don't we start right there? Real simple. It ain't rocket science.
It ain't rocket science.
If folks are healthy, I mean, and a senator was talking about this a moment ago. If folks have something to eat, the nutrition is taken care of, that those, not children, yes, and grown folks. How many working folks go to work each day, and it's shameful. They go to work and they're hungry because they made a decision to make sure that their child or somebody else in that household had food.
Right.
That's insane.
They made the sacrifice. It's nuts. And a lot of those folks, one of the number one employers of those folks who are hungry and use SNAP benefits, which the Republicans are cutting, is the richest company on the planet, Walmart. Well, now second richest, because Amazon, who he, by the way, says there's no need to tax him because it doesn't help, and people need to, I guess, lift themselves up by their bootstraps. I mean, come on, dude. Come on, guy.
Yeah. And listen, guys, folks that are listening anywhere and all over the country, Dr. Jones and I are obviously having some fun with this to the extent that we can, and trying to show the humor in it is the insanity in it at the same time. That we have folks who are in roles of leadership, not that they're leaders, but they're in roles of leadership, and they're not leading. What they're doing, frankly, the entire Republican Party has no leaders. They're followers. Up and down the line, state, local, state, and federal, they're all following right now. And they have the levers of power. So let's talk about that for a quick minute before we go to break, because when I come back, I want to talk more specifically about some of the things that you're doing. But leadership, it's not there right now. You're running for this seat to show some leadership, right?
Yeah, and we're completely missing that leadership. And let me add one layer to what you're saying, Richard. It's leadership. And in politics is the allocation of resources. Like, where do we allocate, money for bridges? Where do we allocate money for education? Where do we allocate money for wars? And the people we put in place are there to allocate those resources. Now, the folks in politics the Republicans are doing something. They're allocating their resources to a small group of people, to Trump's family, to Elon Musk, to Peter Thiel. They're allocating those resources. And so what I try to remind people of, whoever's in office is going to allocate resources. Why not put somebody in office who's going to do it for you?
Let's take a quick break. That's a great statement. I hope you guys caught that one. That was beautiful. 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with Dr. Chris Jones, who's running for Congress in Arkansas, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. I'm Richard Chu. If you were just tuning in, we are talking with MIT-trained nuclear engineer and physicist Dr. Chris Jones, who's running for Congress in Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District. Dr. Jones, before we went to break, we were talking about what's happening on a federal level to a great extent, bad ideas, allocation of resources. But in your state of Arkansas, let's talk about the things that you're facing there. I mean, environment is a big issue right now in Arkansas. Talk a little bit about that as a starting off point, this segment.
Yeah. I mean, there are a number of really critical issues. Now, you say environment is an important issue. It is. And our state logo is the natural state. We are one of the number one agricultural states in the union. So when we think about the natural environment, is certainly important to us, and yet the Republicans are not investing in ways that actually support the natural environment, to support rivers. Instead, they're allocating resources and investing in ways that do away with public lands, that do away with protected lands. I mean, they're doing everything from ramming massive data centers down to changing laws to allow private businesses to build on formerly protected lands. So these are things that matter in our state, and they're showing up. And again, it goes back to, do the people that are making decisions actually care about the people they're making decisions for? And right now, for the last 15 years, we've been under Republican control, and it hasn't helped us.
Not at all. The other, I'd say, big concern there as it's true with all of us throughout the country, is the economy. I mean, Arkansas is an affordable state to live in from the standpoint of the cost of living, the cost of things for the most part. Housing's less expensive than other states. There are a number of factors that play into that. None of them are necessarily negative. Some of them are geographical. But the one thing that isn't happening is the income of working folks in the state of Arkansas is below what that lower cost of living can actually be. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. And it's interesting you bring it up, Richard, because my campaign slogan is AAA. AAA, affordability and accountability for all. Affordability and accountability for all, AAA. And why is that? Because you love how you framed it. Affordability, people often think about affordability only on one side of the coin, the cost side. You know, are costs low? And by the way, costs aren't low right now because of the Iran war and tariffs, right? So farmers can't buy fertilizer because of tariffs. They think things are expensive because of tariffs. But the other side of that affordability coin, in addition to how much it costs, is how much you have in your account.
Yeah.
And wages in Arkansas have remained flat for the last 10 years. So between inflation and which is the increasing cost of things, and folks not having money in their accounts, and layer on a big cost is health insurance. And that cost has gone up because of the One Big Beautiful bill. A big cost is housing, and those costs continue to go up, and folks' income is not keeping up with it. That's why there's an affordability crunch in a place that's supposed to be an affordable place. It has become less and less affordable over the last 10 years. And here's what boggles me. As wages are flat and as costs are going up, what do Republicans do? They say, well, let's cut food benefits for kids who are hungry. You know, let's take money from public education, which is where folks who cannot afford private school go to, and let's put it into private schools with vouchers. Make it make sense, Richard. Make it make sense.
It's blocking folks from having access to the resources that have been allocated on a city, state, and federal level. It's real simple. It's what you said earlier, and I hope we clip that out because I definitely want to use what you were saying before we went to the break. The other thing that, and I was reading this report recently about the number of folks that are moving from quote unquote northern blue states to some southern red states.
Right.
And, you know, there's migration all the time in a country that's as big as ours, both in population and in geographical size. But one of the things that's not happening, and you just touched on it and with kind of my lead in, and that is it may be more affordable in terms of the cost of living per se in some of the red states. However, wages are not keeping up. In some ways, there's a bigger disparity than in some of the larger markets, some of the million plus population cities, and I know you know this from working there, living there, but also someone that's running for Congress.
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, and that I'm glad you brought that up, and that's layered as well. And by the way, if folks want to find out more about me, they can go to chrisjonesforcongress.com or follow me on social media at Jones4AR. The other thing I'll just throw in too is that in addition to being a rocket scientist, I'm an urban planner.
Yep.
So thinking about how society forms, how communities form is something that I'm trained to do. My PhD is in urban planning. And when the thing that I want to bring up about Arkansas, we tout people moving in here. And if you look at the averages, it doesn't tell the whole story because most people are moving into Northwest Arkansas, which is Bentonville.
Yeah.
Because they've invested a lot there.
And guess who's there? Help us out.
Bentonville is where Walmart is. Bentonville is where Tyson Foods and J.B. Hunt. And Walmart, the richest people on the planet, what they have done is they have required executives from any company that works with Walmart to have companies to have at least one executive living in Northwest Arkansas.
Yep.
Which is fine. The challenge is it doesn't migrate down to South Arkansas. It doesn't migrate over to the Delta. That's where poverty is. And if we're not addressing poverty, then what are we doing?
Not at all. I mean, and that's a little known fact. This is why I like talking to folks that are running for office that are in the states other than just Illinois or cities other than just Chicago, because when we think about the makeup of the country, There's so much that takes place in parts of the country that we don't know about. And when you find out about it, I mean, how many people, by show of text or call or sending us a message at Facebook, knew what Dr. Jones just said about what's happening in Bentonville? I don't know what the numbers are, but if you just heard what the doc said, let us know if you knew about that already, or if you didn't. Yeah. It's just good for information. Yeah. Let's talk as we wrap up a little bit about composition, Chris. Well, tell us, and what I mean by composition, I'm talking about the makeup of the district that you're running in.
Yeah. Certainly do that. And as a follow up to what we just said, the other thing that they're doing, actively have been doing, is breaking up and destroying unions.
Yes.
And the power to unionize. I'm a supporter of the PRO Act, but they have actively tried to dismantle unions, which are our arm against the forces that are trying to keep our wages low. But to your point about this district, so there are 4 districts in Arkansas. This is the 2nd congressional district. It is in central Arkansas, so Little Rock is here. It is the most winnable district in the state, arguably the most winnable district in the South. I am currently 3 points ahead of French Hill in the polls. We just got an endorsement from, we had J.B. Pritzker's endorsement.
Yep, I know.
Which, you looked at that. We just got an endorsement from Pete Buttigieg, and Secretary Pete came down and did a rally for us. And one of the reasons is that because the district is about 2/3 urban and 1/3 rural. It's more highly educated, and it has a lot of independence.
Yeah.
And independents and moderates are saying, I'm tired of this. We've had 10 years of them being in power, and they haven't done anything to help us. So that makeup is what gives us a strong position. But again, we're not taking anything for granted.
Not at all. It is always great to have you on. And yes, our governor, he gets it. And we're grateful to him and to the work that he's doing in the state. But he also recognizes when someone like you is stepping up and standing out and doing the work that he should lean in. And so we're proud that our governor has been able to do things like that for you and others, because he believes in strengthening this country that we're all fighting for and that we love.
We're all fighting for.
Yeah.
We love it. 250 years. Let's get the foundation for the next 250 right.
That's right. As I said last week, let's get to 300. I'm old enough to remember when we got to 200, and now we got to 250. So let's lean in so we get to 300.
There it is.
It's Dr. Chris Jones. He is running for Arkansas' 2nd congressional district. Listen, y'all, if Governor J.B. Pritzker can endorse him and Pete Buttigieg can, then y'all need to figure out a way to help out his campaign and make sure he moves more than just 3 points ahead of French Hill. Then we can double that number to 6 and make sure we get him elected to Congress. Thanks for being with us. We'll have you back again. As you know, I love talking with you, and I have such great respect for the work that you're doing. So thanks for being with us.
Love it. And by the way, one last thing, I'm in Chicago at the beginning of August for a family reunion.
Oh, man. Okay, so I know we've got your number.
Yeah.
I'll make sure. We have to get together. Where is it?
Let's do it.
Where in the city or area is it going to be? Suburb? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You got to find out, because then I got to budget traffic time so I can make it to you wherever you're going to be.
That's true.
So just don't mess with me on that now, please.
I got you.
Find out, because I'm going to text you after the show is over, so we can do this. I'll bring a plate too. Don't worry.
There we go. Come on now. To go plate.
To go plate. All right. Thanks for being with us. Be well. We'll see you in August.
Yes, sir. See you in August.
All right. Bye now. Guys, 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM, 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And, of course, AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Thanks for being with us. Dr. Chris Jones. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you are just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu, and thanks to State Senator in Illinois, L.G. Sims, for being with us this morning, and thanks to Dr. Chris Jones, who is running for Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District. This is one of those seats, guys. We get this seat. We are really showing up and showing out in Arkansas, of all places. And, if you're an independent, he talked about this. If you're an independent voter and you're in Arkansas and you're listening, or you're anywhere in the country, do me the favor. I'm going to beg a little bit. Do me the favor of finding a way to help out Dr. Chris Jones for this seat, to win this seat. We need that. I mean, listen, there's so many folks that, like him, that are running that are the real deal. You know, we've vetted them, okay? And we know that they are folks that are going to get the job done. They've got a past of showing that they can get the job done, and they're believers of the community, believers of and supporters of the community. And he definitely represents that. So my favor is that you guys find a way to help out in this campaign, whether it be phone calls, whether it be donations, or whatever the case may be, or just speaking his name to people. If you've got family in Arkansas that can vote in this election, reach out to them and let them know this is somebody that you should check out. Send them his website and all the rest so that you can be a participant in the success that I talked about earlier in terms of us coming together. I'm asking that from anybody anywhere in the country that you're listening or following this show. So there you go. Speaking of elections, today's question again was and is, and we'll pop the lines open and real quickly so you guys can call in if you've been trying to. What are your thoughts of the changes in the Michigan U.S. Senate race? Mallory McMorrow has suspended her campaign, leaving Dr. Saeed and Haley Stevens in the race. Give us a quick call if you can make it in before the end of the show. We want to get your assessment of what's happening or what you think is happening and what that means now that that Mallory McMorrow has suspended her campaign. And speaking of campaigns that have been suspended, I guess I heard, I don't know if this is absolutely correct. I haven't been able to vet this, so I probably should be careful in saying I heard that Graham Plattner is leaving the race. Mike, is that accurate or not? Checking if you guys can check real quickly. I don't want to mess up here. Be that as it may, the one thing that I was saying last night when talking with folks about this, Janet Mills she didn't leave the race. She suspended her campaign. So, you know, if that's the case, then, you know, she was always a very, very viable candidate. You know, the only thing that she had not going for is she's 70 years old. But like I said before, I said this months ago and weeks ago, and I'm saying it again now. I'll take that 70-year-old white woman that's got success and knows her people in the state of Maine and has done things for people in the state of Maine to make their lives better. I'll take that. I'll take that 24/7. And she doesn't have the parachute dragging on her backside of issues that pull her back in terms of her being able to be successful in beating Susan Collins, because Susan Collins got to go. Now, I had someone send me this saying we should be attacking Susan Collins and her bad deeds and her things. That's what she's done in terms of standing as a guard for Donald Trump. That's enough right there. That should be enough, hopefully, for the voters in Maine to say we're done. Just like Chris Jones just said, we've had enough. We don't need that anymore. We don't need Susan Collins, you know, sort of representing us. Okay, so he's taking time to reflect. Reflect on what, dude? I mean, what do you need to reflect on? Either you did it or you didn't do it. You know, and listen, for those out there who are saying, "Oh, true, you're being hypocritical." Some days you say no purity test, and other days you say it's not about the purity test. It's just not. You know, it's not about finding the perfect candidate. I mean, hell, if the case were finding the right candidate, I think we had that. And again, I know I'm beefing on something that I can't vote on, but I think part of my responsibility is in the broader context is that we have to be willing to say, let me back up from that. We have to be willing to acknowledge the fact, as I've said probably hundreds of times now, just because they're younger chronologically doesn't necessarily mean they are going to be the best candidate. And this is a good example. Someone sent this to me about his lack of experience and us knowing who he is actually has become a disadvantage for us. And I said before, and I'll leave this alone for the time being, that the Republicans were going to take this and they were just going to run hard on it. And here we are. So let's hope that we can unravel this in a way that we can move forward. I'm fingers crossed that we can. So I hope that that we can do something to fix this. So there you go. Here are some current events of things that have happened beyond the Plattner situation. And I'll just ask you guys this question: is Mitch McConnell alive? I mean, and I asked that somewhat to be a little snarky, but I also ask it in terms of what are we really doing right here, right now? We don't know if Mitch McConnell is dead or alive. And is that a problem? Trump opened the door to politicians not disclosing information about their health, but after Senator Mitch McConnell reportedly suffered a heart attack, his office has not provided any new updates. We all know he's had a series of health problems, and we don't want anybody to have health problems. I don't have to like you politically, but I don't want to see you suffer. And I mean that. But, you know, if his health is not able, if he's not able to be in the seat and be healthy in it and represent, then he's doing a disservice to the people of the state of Kentucky, period. And I would say that about a Democrat. I said that about Dianne Feinstein years ago. I said that she wasn't healthy enough to maintain that seat and do the work and know what she was doing, that she needed to go. For the safety of her health and for her dignity and for her family's dignity, as well as the people that she represented in the state of California. And I stand behind that today. Same thing with Mitch McConnell. It's time for Mitch to be gone so he can, you know, live out whatever years and time he has left on this planet in with as much dignity as possible, and irrespective of how much I can't stand him politically. So come on, Kentucky, do the right thing and elect a good, strong Democrat in that seat. All right. How would you feel if you made an investment in something and the people that brought it to you made a whole bunch of money and you lost? I seem to remember that there was a guy named Sam Bankman that scammed the hell out of people, y'all. He went to prison, right? He went to prison, didn't he, Devin? Sam Bankman, or whatever the dude's name was, was it a Bitcoin scheme?
25 years federal prison.
Right? Because he scammed some folks. So Donald Trump made $2.2 billion off of crypto this year. The people who also bought lost $2.28 billion. So how is that right? I think that too many people are sitting back and not looking at that and saying that's just that. If we've sent other people to prison for similar deeds or deeds where they lost money, if nothing else, an investigation should be taking place. I can't say that Trump should go to jail for this particular situation, but an investigation should be had. It's not going to happen on the Republicans. It's just not. And this goes, again, back to the statement that we've made so many times about the importance of winning the midterms. It gives us that investigative power congressionally. Here's what it does if you don't think it touches you. On a federal level, it says we need to find out what the hell happened here with this situation with Trump and this money lost by people who invested similarly like he did. He's not any smarter. So don't buy into that, he knew better than everybody else. That's garbage. Here's, though, how this sort of makes its trickle down, if you will. I feel that the way in which allocated or determined monies that didn't get properly allocated by the federal government needs to be investigated, because that's impacted folks on a state level. Going back to what both our previous guests said today, what Dr. Jones said and what State Senator Sims said about the determination but lack of allocation of monies and to the right recipient. When those federal dollars get diverted, we need to investigate that. So on a state level, if you think, well, yeah, Richard, we can investigate these big high crimes, but that doesn't really impact me. Yeah, it does. Because if we find out that DOJ was dipping into stuff and having an impact on where monies went, or if we find out that with this bill, not with the bill, but with the executive orders that Trump put in place, that then cause funds to get redirected. Remember, I asked the question. I asked this question last year, right after the election, when Doge first hit the scene and other tamperings, if you will, hit the scene, the tariffs. I said, where's this money going? I asked that question dozens of times. Where is this money that's being saved or being reallocated going to end up? So another reason I should say that why we have to take back Congress is to hold hearings, to drag these you-know-whats into the halls of Congress and make them stand and deliver with their hand raised and under sworn or through sworn testimony. It's not just to take back Congress for the purposes of voting. It's the walk and chew gum moment. It's kind of going to what Chris said, AAA, but what Amy McGrath has said, accountability and affordability have to happen at the same time. Guys, let's take a little bit of a break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu. I'm going to say one more little bit of snark, and then we'll go to a quick call. So, this whole thing that Trump posted an AI image of Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, with the racist graffiti and all that. We know who he is. We know who his disgusting people are that work around him, and don't have the guts to stand up and say that's not the right thing to do. It's not presidential. We know that already. So my pushback is this, because I'm a pushbacker kind of guy, Mike. Let's start posting. And y'all aren't gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it. Maybe. How about if I put maybe in front of it, Devin? Maybe some people should start posting some real pictures, not fake images of the Obamas, but some real pictures of Melania. Fill in the blanks. Why not that? It might disgust a lot of people. And it's R-rated. But, if they're going to play that kind of game, then, some Democratic political group should say, you know what, we're going to start posting pictures of Melania all over the place. And Donald with his see, I got to stop. Let's take a quick call. Let's go to Paul in Seattle. Paul, good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Rich, what's going on?
Talk to me.
Got to remind you, man, you owe me a book.
Oh, that didn't go. Oh, we didn't get. Okay. I will take care of that today. I promise you. I will promise you that we got to make sure you resend your address, because I think that's what the cog in the system is. Yeah, I just got a thumbs up. That's what the cog in the system is. We'll get that sent out today, my man. I promise you that.
All right. What's your email address again? I keep forgetting it.
Send me your mailing address to richard@wcpt820.com.
Right, Richard at WCPT. Yeah, I got that. Okay.
And I'll get it. I'll make sure it gets. Okay. All right, go ahead.
So we can't twist ourselves in knots trying to, condolences to Mitch McConnell. We don't want to see anybody suffer. No. Look it. This kind of reminds me of the whole Charlie Kirk thing. Oh, we don't endorse political violence, and we're not about. Oh, look it. It's kind of like we don't need to do that. Remember, we're the gun grabbers. We're not the ones who. We're not the ones who. We don't need to fall all over ourselves doing that, man. And you know what? You took the Susan Collins, the Senate race in Maine. Look, we know what we're up against now. The billionaires have hollowed out our government for the purpose of getting richer and richer and richer. That's what's happened. Is they have completely hollowed out our government for that purpose, and it comes across like fascism, but they're basically undermining our entire way of American life.
Yep.
So it's like at this point, I don't need to say, "Hey, listen, I don't want anybody to get hurt here." Look, we're already hurt. Okay, at that point, it's kind of like. You need to get up and say, look, man, you're going to play like that? Okay. And by the way, Susan Collins knows and knew what this was all about. She's been one of these, concerns. She's always got concerns. And, well, listen, she's been around long enough to know what all this is about. So I don't cut her any slack.
I cut her zero slack, especially given what the conversation is around. Did she have an affair with the married man way back in the day? I mean, she knows what the game is.
Well, Rich, this is a street fight at this point.
Yep.
And, this is not any time to be polite. You're in a street fight. You get that part, right? It's like, I don't have to say, listen, condolences to your family while I'm kicking you in the chops, right? I just don't have to do that, right? I have to do what I have to do.
I don't want Mitch to listen. That's the humanity in me. I don't want the dude to suffer, but politically he needs to go. I don't want him to suffer. I mean, I know that some of the decisions he's made in terms of his political decisions may have caused some people's lives to suffer. So I can get there with you. I know what you're talking about.
Well, the thing is, Rich,
politically, let's punch him in the face. And the same thing with Susan Collins. Politically, I'm tired of her being, confused and concerned. Let's punch her in the face politically and in the gut and kick her in the behind and say, you're done. And we need to bring that kind of energy to these fights. We get caught up in the other stuff. I hear what you're saying and trying to be good Democrats. So I'm with you, Paul. I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, I'm the guy that says, let's bring a sledgehammer to the fight and knock over some tables. So let's not forget that.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's like the Charlie Kirk thing. I personally have absolutely no control over what happened. I have no control over what's happened to Mitch McConnell's health. And by the way, he's got whatever health care. He's got the best of what he can use with it right now. He's got a lot better than 95% of the people in this country. So whatever going on with that, brother, we all got to go sometime. And he's been around. So it's like there's nothing I can do about that. Whatever I think or say about it has no bearing on what he eventually suffers, whether he suffers or not. The medical care today, he's not suffering. He's unconscious. He may still be alive, but he's not conscious. So he's not suffering. That's all I can say.
I hear you, man. Listen, Paul, in case you all need me to interpret, Paul has no love right now for where Mitch is, and I don't disagree with you, my man. I really don't. And I know that you and I can't affect the election by voting in Maine, but Lord help us if we fumble this at the goal line, because we had an opportunity to win this thing. And it's not over necessarily, but we'll have to see what happens.
Right. I don't understand that, but look, we have to. We can't take anymore. We just can't.
No.
We can't put up with anymore because it's what's being done to us is brazen. It's right out in the open, and we can see that.
No, they're not hiding it.
And we have.
It's not being hidden at all. It's right there. Here's what we're doing. We're going to rob and steal you blind, and we're going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. You all can't stop us right now, and we're doing everything we can so that when you can stop us, we're so welled up that we can fight this off. That's the game right now. It's not complicated. That is the game, which is why we've got to win some of these seats and get back in control.
Mitch McConnell, as you know, was absolutely, as an instrument, probably the main tool in tilting the highest court in the land against us. So, the games he played with that, and these games he played with the Senate is an embarrassment. It's no longer can say it's the most deliberative body in the world. It's not. It's a joke. It's an embarrassment, and much to the credit of Mitch McConnell. So, he's got to go. And what happens to him at his age and his previous health problems have been evident. Obviously, we've seen it in the last, several 5-6 years. So.
All that ugly has come back to get him. Paul, thanks, man, for being with us today. Always good to hear from you. And I'll get your book out to you. Thanks, brother. Send me an email.
Okay.
All right.
Care, man.
Talk to you soon. Yeah. Bye-bye. Let's go real quickly to Michael's got a question. Answer the question of the day. Michael, welcome to the show. Are you there?
Hi, good morning.
Yes. Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
As someone who formerly lived in Chatham, who grew up in Chatham, it was interesting hearing L.G. Simmons, his commentary this morning. I also was legislative staffer for his predecessor, Illinois General Assembly member Connie Howard.
Yep.
With that being said, I wanted to answer the question for today.
All right.
I think that at this time, this guy, we have to some kind of way, I'm not really sure, but the woman that suspended her campaign, she's a Democrat, correct?
Mallory McMorrow in Michigan. Yes, she suspended her campaign. 3 Democrats,
Well,
McMorrow, Said, and Stevens.
Right. We're going to have to go back to her and take out this guy who's got, I don't tip African Americans or black folks on his chest. This guy who has the Hitler crossbar.
Wait. Okay, hold on a second. We're mixing sauces here. Mallory McMorrow's in Michigan. She suspended her campaign, and in Maine, the governor Janet Mills suspended her campaign a few weeks ago in terms of that Senate race as a Democratic candidate against Plattner. So she's never ended the race or left the race. She suspended her campaign, which is different. So both did. Right. Mallory McMorrow did in Michigan. And my question of the day was, what are y'all's thoughts about that? But your comment seems to be about what's happening in Maine. Am I right about that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Real quick.
My comments about it's a menagerie because. Your commentary this morning was a menagerie. You had different guests from the state. I've been listening since 6 o'clock. So, like I do every day.
Well, thank you.
I enjoy your show. I have always listened to 820 AM where facts matter. I'm a senior now. But with that being said, I'm still active. Now, in Maine, I think, I don't want to see the Republicans have a seat because our numbers are so close.
Right.
And at this time, we've got too many issues that are going to, as far as affect low income, working class Americans in this country when we have a federal system who literally, we have an executive office that doesn't care about helping the states.
Yeah.
He talks about bringing back things into the state as if states' rights were somehow a friend to persons who were outside of the majority population.
Yeah,
so as far as I'm concerned, it's an interesting twist in terms of how he wants to do things.
Yeah.
But I'm looking to hear from candidates what is going to happen. What is their platform? Keyword platform.
Hey, Michael, you know what happens, man. We get to the end of the show and we run out of time, unfortunately. But thank you for your call. Give us a holler back tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about this then. I promise you that. Make sure you give us a holler tomorrow. We'll get it back on and we'll start all over again. We got to wrap up. 773-763-9278 is our number. You know that. Thanks for listening to Choose Views this morning. Stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show. And remember, y'all, to take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.